The first thing Julian Vance became aware of was the antiseptic smell of a hospital room, followed by the dull throb behind his eyes. Mr. Peterson, his family's house manager for over 2 decades, was explaining the situation in a low, steady voice. Car accident. A blow to the head. Partial amnesia. Julian processed this with a detached calm until Peterson mentioned a certain arrangement at home. His disbelief was palpable when he learned of Leo's existence. He questioned how it was possible that he, Julian Vance, had sponsored a man. He insisted it was a ridiculous lie, that Peterson must be mistaken. His memory may have been fractured, he argued, but his fundamental nature was intact. He had a deep-seated aversion to the very idea, a visceral reaction that made his skin crawl. Peterson, ever patient, quietly suggested that perhaps Julian should see the person in question before making a final judgment. Julian dismissed the idea with a wave of his hand, demanding the man be thrown out of his house immediately. In another room, Leo heard the raised voice and stopped packing. So that was it. The part of Julian's memory that had been wiped clean was him. It was almost a relief. Word of the accident had reached him while he was visiting his mother for a checkup, and he had been wrestling with how to handle a potentially furious Julian. He hadn't anticipated being forgotten entirely. It certainly simplified things. The sponsorship term was nearly over anyway. He turned back to his room and methodically began to gather his belongings. He didn't intend for a confrontation. His plan was to slip out unnoticed, leaving the amnesiac billionaire to his newly restored, Leo-free life. But as he dragged his sleek hardshell suitcase into the main living area, Julian emerged from the hallway, fresh from a shower with a towel slung low on his hips. Water droplets clung to the defined muscles of his chest. His face, a chiseled masterpiece that always seemed unfairly handsome, was set in a frown. The moment Julian's eyes landed on Leo and the suitcase by his side, something strange happened. A flicker of panic crossed his face, followed by a bewildering, instinctual reaction. His body moved before his mind could catch up. He dropped to his knees, a motion so swift and practiced it was unnerving, and wrapped his arms around Leo's legs. "Baby, I'm sorry," Julian pleaded, his voice thick with a desperation he clearly didn't understand. "The one who should get out is me." The world seemed to fall silent. Mr. Peterson, who had followed Julian out, let out a startled gasp. Leo just stood there, his breath caught in his throat, a flush of heat creeping up his neck. This was a Pavlovian response honed over 2 years. In the early days, Julian's possessiveness had been suffocating. When Leo had finally had enough and tried to leave, Julian had verbally told him to get lost, but his body had betrayed him, kneeling just like this. It had become a bizarre, recurring ritual. To see it happen now, from a man who didn't even know him, was profoundly unsettling. The humiliation in that moment felt entirely his own. Julian's face was a twisted mask of confusion. He seemed to be fighting an internal battle, his mind warring with the muscle memory that had taken over his body. Slowly, as if in a trance, his bewildered gaze traveled up, taking in Leo for the first time. His eyes widened, a new light dawning in them. He instructed Mr. Peterson to call the hospital, convinced he must have other post-accident complications beyond memory loss. Leo thought it was a lost cause, waiting for a memory to return like a switch being flipped. The money Julian had provided was more than enough for his mother's ongoing treatments. It was time for a clean break. But Julian was now clutching his chest, his expression theatrical. He said his heart was racing and his face felt hot. Mr. Peterson, watching with a knowing look, gently suggested that perhaps it wasn't a medical emergency. He posited that it might be love at first sight. Julian considered this, his eyes fixed on Leo. After a long moment, he nodded decisively. That had to be it. He straightened his towel, ran a hand through his damp hair, and approached Leo with a newfound confidence. He asked quite directly if Leo liked men. Before Leo could answer, Julian declared that he himself had just realized he was gay. The swiftness of the reversal left Leo speechless. He looked into Julian's expectant eyes and managed a slow nod. Julian's smile widened. He then asked what Leo thought of him. Not much, Leo replied flatly. Julian's smile froze. From the corner, Mr. Peterson chuckled, unable to contain his amusement. He teased his employer about his sudden cure for homophobia. Julian, now a staunch defender of the cause, rounded on the house manager, launching into an impromptu speech about love and acceptance. With Peterson silenced, he turned his charm back on Leo, asking for his name and what he was doing in his house. His approach as brazenly persistent as it had been when they first met. Peterson, eager to see the drama unfold, prompted Julian to take a closer look to see if Leo's face seemed familiar. Julian stared for a full 30 seconds before shaking his head in confusion. It was strange. Even if he'd forgotten Leo, he should have recognized the supposed resemblance to his long-lost first love, the entire premise for their arrangement. Unless he had forgotten her too and taken Leo, the replacement, with her into the amnesiac void. Cutting through the speculation, Peterson finally made the reveal. He informed Julian that this was Leo Hayes, the man he had been sponsoring. Julian's jaw dropped. A complex series of emotions played across his face. Shock, disbelief, and then a slowly spreading, undeniable delight. He pulled Peterson aside, whispering conspiratorially, asking if it was really him. Upon receiving confirmation, a grin broke out on Julian's face that he couldn't suppress. His gaze on Leo became bolder, more appraisive. He murmured that a face like that was certainly worth being a dog for. His glee was short-lived. He noticed the suitcase again, and his expression hardened. He asked if Leo was leaving. Leo reminded him that it was Julian who had told him to get out. Julian fell silent, a flicker of panic in his eyes as he watched Leo's face. Leo, assuming Julian was worried about being saddled with him, offered reassurances. He promised Julian he wouldn't be a problem and would disappear from his life. This seemed to have the opposite effect. Julian strode forward, pulling the suitcase behind him, out of Leo's reach. He insisted that he hadn't meant it, that he hadn't seen Leo's face at the time. He clarified that the amnesia was his problem, and Leo shouldn't be punished for it. He asked him to stay at least until his memory returned. Leo politely declined, stating that the contract was almost up anyway. Just then, his phone buzzed. Seeing the caller ID, a wave of panic washed over Leo. He told Julian he had to go, that his ride was waiting. He grabbed his suitcase and headed for the door, moving with a haste that suggested he'd been waiting for this escape for a long time. He'd barely reached the foyer when Julian was there, his 6 feet 3 inches frame blocking the exit. His voice was low and accusatory. He asked who he was, sneering that Leo had wasted no time finding a replacement. The phone rang again. Julian snatched it from Leo's hand and answered, his voice dripping with rage. A gruff, annoyed voice crackled from the other end. "Yeah, this is your lift. You've had me waiting for an hour. Are you kidding me? This is the last time I take a fare in this godforsaken neighborhood." Julian froze. He turned his body away, a deep red blush coloring his neck as he tried to sound composed. He cleared his throat and asked who was calling. The driver's voice boomed back. "I'm the guy who's about to charge you a massive cancellation fee and give you 1 star. That's who." After the driver hung up, Julian stood in mortified silence, staring at the floor. Leo decided not to let him off the hook. He asked if something was wrong, if he had something on his mind. Julian took a deep breath, shoved the phone back into Leo's pocket, and offered a sincere apology for his baseless accusations. He even offered to kneel again if it would make Leo feel better. Leo stopped him, shaking his head. He told Julian not to apologize. His guess hadn't been wrong. He did, in fact, have a new prospect. As Julian's body tensed, Leo leaned in close, his voice a soft whisper. "A man who kneels that easily," he said, "has zero appeal." In the end, Leo didn't leave. Julian produced the contract, slapping it down on the table and pointing out that as long as it was active, Leo was obligated to stay. With only a week left, Leo was too exhausted to argue. He agreed, figuring a week would pass quickly enough. That evening, after his shower, Leo was getting ready for bed when Julian appeared in his doorway. Leo, who was only in his briefs, saw Julian's face flush. Julian awkwardly explained that, according to Peterson, they shared a bed. Leo, unfazed, simply lay down and patted the empty space beside him. He pointed out that this was the entire point of their arrangement, wasn't it? He invited Julian to join him, a challenge in his eyes. Just as a hesitant Julian was about to climb into bed, Mr. Peterson arrived. He announced that the doctor had advised against any strenuous activity for Julian while he recovered, and that he would be staying in the adjacent room for the time being. It was clearly an order from Julian's father, an attempt to steer his son back towards his presumed heterosexuality. Leo understood. He had never harbored any illusions about his place in this house. It was a transaction. Julian wanted his face and he wanted Julian's money. Later that night, long after the house had gone quiet, Leo was woken by a presence beside him. A hand was tracing the line of his jaw, its touch cool against his skin. His eyes snapped open. Julian was lying next to him, his face inches away, his body pressed close. His eyes were closed, his breathing even and deep against Leo's neck. Leo's heart began to pound. He tried to wake him, calling his name several times, but Julian remained still. It had to be another instance of that damned muscle memory. The fire Julian had started within him was now his alone to deal with. The next morning, Julian claimed he must have been sleepwalking, a new side effect of his head injury. Leo didn't believe him for a second but was too tired to call him on it. He left for work, where a mountain of files awaited him. By the time he finished, it was late and public transit had stopped running. He was about to hail a cab when a familiar voice called his name. It was Connor Wells, his boss's youngest son, a notorious playboy known for treating the company as his personal playground. He offered Leo a ride, and after a moment of hesitation, Leo accepted. The ride was awkward. Connor mentioned the dozens of texts he'd sent, which Leo had ignored. Leo tried to explain that he was in a relationship, but Connor cut him off, saying he knew. He wasn't trying to break them up, he explained with a lazy grin. He could wait for them to split. When they pulled up to the house, Leo saw Julian standing by the entrance, arms crossed, his face a thundercloud. A strange sense of being caught in the act washed over him. From the car, Connor gave Julian a cheerful wave. Later, ex-hubby, he called out before speeding away, leaving Leo to face the fallout. Julian was radiating fury. Leo knew there was no point in explaining. He walked past him towards the house, but Julian followed. his voice dripping with sarcasm as he berated Leo for his taste in men and for being so impatient when their contract had only a few days left. Exasperated, Leo stopped and turned. He told Julian he would rather be with a good-for-nothing playboy than renew a contract with him. Inside his room, with the door locked, Leo could hear Julian pacing restlessly in the hall. A text from Connor came through, mocking Julian's lack of reaction and questioning if he even cared about Leo. He attached a series of shirtless photos of himself. Leo glanced at them, admitting to himself that Connor was attractive but far too arrogant for his taste. He tossed the phone aside and fell asleep, the screen still lit up with Connor's abs. He was jolted awake sometime later by a hand gripping his ankle. In the dim light, Julian was standing over the bed, his eyes dark and menacing. He held up Leo's phone, the picture of Connor still displayed. His voice was a low growl. "You like this so much you have to sleep with it?" Leo retorted, asking if looking at abs was illegal. Julian shot back that he had them too, and Leo had stopped looking. He accused Leo of being bored with him. Without thinking, Leo challenged him to prove it. To his shock, Julian began to undress. Leo's heart hammered against his ribs. He felt a familiar pull, a desire he tried to suppress. As his trembling hand reached out, Julian stopped him. "Break up with him," Julian demanded, "and I'll let you touch." Leo's interest vanished instantly. He pulled back, rolling over and turning his back to Julian. Defeated, Julian began to ramble, comparing himself to Connor, questioning if Connor's parents would approve, if Connor would fight for Leo the way he had. Leo, his patience gone, sat up and faced him. He said that Connor wouldn't have to, because Leo wouldn't let him suffer for it. Julian's voice cracked. He asked if, beyond the contract, Leo had any feelings for him at all. Leo beckoned him closer. "In this line of work," he whispered, "the biggest mistake is falling for a client." The raw pain on Julian's face was almost too much to bear. He stormed out, only to return 30 minutes later, his arms full of boxes of condoms, which he dumped on the bed. He declared that the only way to prove his capabilities was through action. He pounced on Leo, his kisses desperate and clumsy. After a minute, Leo pushed him away, complaining that Julian had forgotten how to kiss, that his mouth was swollen. He asked about the previous girlfriends, the supposed first love. Julian looked genuinely confused. He swore that there had been no one else, man or woman. There was no first love for Leo to be a substitute for. His eyes were clear and honest. He told Leo that he liked him, that even with his memory gone, the moment he saw him, he had felt it. His attraction had nothing to do with gender. It was just about him. His next kiss was more intense, more determined. But the effort proved too much. A trickle of blood ran from his nose, and he nearly fainted. The doctors had been serious after all. At the hospital, Julian's father arrived, raining down fury on his son before giving Leo a long, pointed look. Shortly after, $20 million appeared in Leo's bank account. It was severance pay. Leo sat on a bench outside the hospital for a long time before telling Mr. Peterson to inform Julian that he would be leaving when the contract expired. For the next few days, Leo avoided Julian, coming home late from work each night. One evening, Julian was waiting for him, his mood dark. He accused Leo of seeing Connor. The argument escalated until Julian stormed off, shouting that Leo could shoot him if he ever acted so pathetic again. Later that night, Leo heard the doorknob to his room turn. The pathetic man had returned, but the door was locked. After a few minutes, the footsteps receded. The next day, Julian was waiting outside Leo's office at quitting time, leaning against a flashy sports car and holding an enormous bouquet of flowers. He looked like a movie star. Co-workers swooned, wondering who the handsome stranger was. Then he walked directly to Leo. The whispers turned to gasps of shock and delight. Worried about the scene and what Julian's father would think, Leo tried to pull him to the car. Julian refused to move. "Not unless you kiss me," he demanded. In a moment of sheer frustration, Leo slapped him lightly across the cheek. Julian just grinned, a dopey, lovesick expression on his face. "So flirty," he murmured. The spectacle was, of course, filmed and posted online, where it went viral within the hour. Just as quickly, it was taken down, undoubtedly by Julian's father. A message from him soon followed, a summons for a meeting. Fear seized Leo. He knew how the wealthy dealt with inconvenient lovers. He had to run. That night, one final night, was a blur of passion and desperation. Leo woke before dawn, while Julian was still sleeping peacefully. He picked up his packed suitcase and slipped out of the house, disappearing into the early morning darkness. He went back to his hometown, thinking it was the last place Julian would look. His mother, though happy to see him, quickly grew tired of his listlessness and began arranging blind dates. Leo found himself in a local coffee shop, sitting across from a perfectly nice schoolteacher, a gift for her on the table. He was trying to figure out how to gently explain his sexuality when he saw him. Through the window, Julian Vance was standing there, a slow, predatory smile spreading across his face. He mouthed 2 words, "You're caught." Panic flared. Leo grabbed his phone and ran, but Julian's security team was already there, cornering him and ushering him into a waiting car. Inside, Julian sat, looking infuriatingly calm. "Did you have fun on your date?" he asked. Leo accused him of kidnapping. Julian just laughed, calling it picking up my wife. He said that if Leo wanted to get married, they could fly to Canada tomorrow. Leo exploded. He told Julian he didn't love him, that it was always about the money, that he had even taken his father's payoff. Julian was unmoved. "So what if you're after my money?" he said with a shrug. "I have plenty of it. I'm not afraid of that. What I am afraid of is losing you." He told Leo to get some rest, that they would be home soon. As predicted, Julian's father was waiting. Julian pushed Leo into a bedroom, kissed his forehead, and promised to handle it. He told him not to worry, that he would protect him. 2 hours later, he returned. 2 long, bloody welts were visible through his torn white shirt. As Leo cleaned the wounds, Julian winced, complaining about his father's heavy hand but never losing the determined glint in his eye. Seeing Leo's eyes well up with tears, Julian took his hand. "You're crying," he said softly. "You're worried about me." He confessed that when Peterson had first told him about Leo, he couldn't understand his past self-obsession. "But then I saw you," he said, his thumb stroking Leo's cheek, "and I understood. There is no reason. Your eyes have been telling me you love me all along, even when your mouth was lying." Later that night, his mother called, scolding him for running out on his date. In that moment, looking at Julian's bruised but resolute face, Leo knew he had to fight for himself, too. He took a deep breath. "Mom," he said, his voice shaking, "I'm sorry. I like men. I'm sorry if I've disappointed you." The line went silent, and then the call ended. As a wave of desolation washed over him, Julian wrapped his arms around him from behind, holding him tight. "I'm sorry," he whispered into Leo's ear. "I love you. Trust me. I'll make your mother accept me." Leo turned in his arms, burying his face in Julian's chest. "I believe you can," he said.